Good evening, you're now with me, Handy Gui for TVS Nightline, and here are the headlines for tonight. Minister Dr. Sri Fatimah Abdullah wants greater women representation in politics. Fahmi Fadzil assures the public the PADU system is safe from hackers. Occupying Israel President Benjamin Netanyahu proposes blueprint for post-genocide Gaza. The death toll from the Palestinian genocide approaches the 30,000 mark, with 29,514 deaths reported today, and yet Israel is showing no signs of halting their attack. Instead, its president Benjamin Netanyahu earlier today proposed a blueprint for a post-genocide Gaza that envisions total administration by Israeli leaders and foreign allies, with no involvement whatsoever from Palestinian leaders. To achieve this, Netanyahu will continue the bombardment of Rafah, where over 1 million refugees are taking shelter, as well as commence a ground invasion of the city at the start of Ramadan, despite protests from its Western allies.
According to the plan, the occupying force Israel would have indefinite freedom to operate throughout Gaza to prevent any resurgence of quote-unquote terror activity. The plan states that Israel will move forward with its already in motion project to establish a security buffer zone on the Palestinian side of the Strip's border. It also envisages Israeli security control over the entire area west of Jordan from the land, sea, and air to prevent the strengthening of terrorist elements in the occupied West Bank and the Gaza Strip, and to thwart threats from them towards Israel. Moreover, the blueprint promotes de-radicalization in all religious, educational, and welfare institutions in Gaza. It is also important to note that the plan contains a key element to dismantle the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, a vital humanitarian group in the ongoing crisis.
The government reiterates its guarantee that the data stored in the Central Database Hub, PADU, is safe following allegations that the system was hacked. According to Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil, discussions with various stakeholders, including Cybersecurity Malaysia, has confirmed that the primary database faces no issue of data leakage or breaches as alleged.
InsyaAllah data itu selamat. Pihak NAKSA, pihak Cybersecurity Malaysia, Jabatan Perlindungan Data Pribadi adalah sebahagian daripada pasukan yang memastikan aspek keselamatan data dan keselamatan cyber bagi sistem PADU.
Previously, Rafizi dismissed that the PADU system was hacked following allegations that a hacker group had stolen data from the National Population and Family Development Board, an agency under the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. Fahmi, who is also the government spokesperson, encourages the public to register in the PADU system.
Sarawak will see greater representation in politics following the amendment to an article of Parti Pesaka Bumiputra Bersatu PBB Constitution. PBB Women Wing Chief Dr. Sri Fatimah Abdullah said through the revision of Article 14, a minimum of 5 members from the Women Supreme Council will now be appointed to the PBB Supreme Council.
Ini merupakan satu kejayaan dari aspek iaitu bilangan representation wanita di dalam Majlis Tertinggi Badan Induk PBB. Jadi dengan pindaan perlembagaan ini, selain daripada yang satu tadi automatik tu ya, jadi ada 5 yang lain tambahan ni. Ya, 6.
Fatimah said this to reporters after chairing the PBB Women's Supreme Council meeting at its headquarters on Friday. She added the amendment is a positive development towards empowering more women leaders in PBB Supreme Council, as currently only 2 women are in the top posts, namely herself as the PBB Women Wing Chief and Datuk Sharifah Hasidah Said Aman Ghazali as the Assistant Secretary. Previously, Fatimah proposed the amendment to the Constitution during PBB convention on 17 June 2022 and had been approved by the Registrar of Societies Malaysia ROS effective 7 June 2023.
The development and integration of new technology in Sarawak's pepper industry are vital to increase the productivity and income of farmers of the premium commodity. Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Amar Douglas Ugah Embas, regarded the industry as important to the state and said that the adoption of new technology would breathe a new life to the industry, as it can double the harvest collection and attract the younger generation into pepper farming.
As such, Ugah said the Betong Division Development Agency, BDDA, had earmarked a sum of 3 million ringgit to assist in the development of the industry, especially in Betong.
Sebab itu, kita telah memutuskan untuk berkesabaran. Kita akan membentukkan 3 juta untuk to complement kena bantuan dari Lembaga Lada Malaysia dan juga dari Jabatan Pertanian. Jadi kita nak masuk untuk menentukan ianya akan lengkap untuk kebaikan para pekebun lada di kawasan saya di Pekasabat.
Ugah, who is the Minister for Infrastructure and Port Development, said pilot projects utilizing the Internet of Things, IoT, and modern farming like fertigation are currently being carried out in Semenggok, Kuching, and Sarikei. Ugah also presented Malaysian Pepper Board grants amounting to 1.7 million ringgit to various pepper growers and producers in the Betong division. Also present at the program were Food Industry, Commodity and Regional Development Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Stephen Rundi Utom and Betong MP Dr. Richard Rapu.
In other news, Parti Pesaka Bumi Putra Bersatu PBB Women Wing attributed the late Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud as a prominent figure who paved the way for Sarawakian women to be involved in politics. PBB Women Wing Chief Dr. Sri Fatimah Abdullah regarded the former governor and longest-serving chief minister as an exceptional figure and esteemed statesman.
Dalam pemerkasaan wanita, terutama sekali wakil rakyat wanita, kami berterima kasih kepada Allah Yarham. Sebenarnya kata beliau, sumbangan wanita dalam bidang politik sebenarnya sangat penting. Ada yang memang nampak iaitu sebagai wakil rakyat ke ataupun sebagai menteri. Ada lagi yang lain yang di belakang tabir yang juga memainkan peranan yang sangat penting dalam menyebar maklumat, dalam memperkuatkan parti.
Looking back, Fatimah also shared how Tun Taib had played a significant part that shaped her political journey.
Saya telah dibawa masuk daripada menjadi seorang pengetua, menjadi ahli PBB dan kemudian menjadi wakil rakyat, kemudian menteri muda dan menteri penuh. Kita dapat lihat bagaimana beliau telah memperkasakan wanita melalui politik ini.
The Sarawak government commended Petronas's Corporate Social Responsibility CSR program for enhancing the facilities of 26 rural health clinics in the state. Sarawak Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Dr. Sim Kui Hian said the program involved equipment worth over 13 million ringgit.
He further mentioned that this effort aims to bridge the gap in rural community healthcare in addition to alleviating the financial burden of rural patients.
Focusing untuk Petronas. Petronas for starting this very meaningful partnership with Sarawak government. This improvement in rural healthcare services and facilities. Ini program ini dengan Petronas, Sabati dan Jabatan Kesihatan Negeri Sarawak adalah untuk 5 tahun and involving 26 rural clinics 1.3 million. And yang pertama ialah tahun dulu dia di Nanggam Mujau Health Clinic in Spark, Betong.
He He said in his speech during the handover ceremony of basic medical needs at the Sadong Jaya Health Clinic in Asajaya on February 23rd. Previously, Nangamujau Health Clinic in Spak, Betong was the first rural clinic to receive basic medical equipment from Petronas. Among the medical equipment delivered include nebulizer machines, digital thermometers with dual readings complete with calibration certificates, and laryngeal mask airways.
Now, the National Journalist Day, Hawana 2024, will feature a new award category. The Malaysian National News Agency bernama Editor-in-Chief and Chief Executive Officer Nurul Afida Kamaluddin said the award will serve to recognise journalists who made significant contributions at the state and national levels.
Kriteria yang saya sebutkan tadi itulah sumbangan besarnya kepada bidang kewartawanan di negeri dan juga penglibatan meluas sebagai wartawan. Itu antara dua kategori utama yang kami, dan ada satu komiti atau jawatankuasa yang akan membuat pemilihan berkenaan.
She said this in an exclusive interview with TVS on Friday. She added, Awana 2024 would also recognize and acknowledge the contributors of veteran journalists through a special award, including providing assistance to former journalists.
Jadi kita mahu mengangkat wartawan yang telah memberi sumbangan besar, especially kepada negeri berkenaan. Jadi untuk Kuching, saya percaya ada beberapa nama wartawan veteran yang telah disebut. Namun kami perlu memberi atau membuat pemilihan secara adil supaya pemilihan penerima anugerah wartawan Hawana Kuching adalah mereka yang individu yang betul-betul layak untuk menerimanya lah.
Kuching has been chosen as the location for Hawana 2024, and the program will take place from May 25th to 27, 2024, where various activities will be held for media practitioners in the industry.
Up next, taxi and school bus drivers to benefit from SOCSO. And in world news, Russian President Vladimir Putin confirms 95% of Russia's strategic nuclear armament is modernized. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned.
One host, 27 experts. All about health issues in Sarawak. Don't miss My Health, My Choice with Arif Abdul Rahman. Only on TVS.
Cabaran lomba Indok Go bermula dari sekarang.
Menguji kecekalan dan ketabahan peserta. Membawa mereka ke tahap kemahiran yang lebih tinggi. Saksikan mereka dalam lomba Indok Go setiap Jumaat 9.30 malam hanya di TVS.
Thank you for staying with us. Over 35,000 taxi drivers and 18,000 school bus drivers are set to benefit from Social Security Organisation or SOCSO subscriptions, which will be fully borne by the government effective next month. Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook said 90% will be funded by the Ministry of Finance, while the remaining 10% will be borne by the Ministry of Transport for 1 year.
Jadi untuk sektor golongan pemandu taksi, kita akan buat caruman tambahan 10% itu. Maksudnya 90% daripada Kementerian Kewangan, peruntukan Kementerian Kewangan kepada PKSO, 10% akan ditop up oleh Kementerian Pengangkutan. Jadi maksudnya pemandu-pemandu taksi dan juga pemandu-pemandu bas sekolah ini, mereka tak perlu mencarum 1 sen pun untuk setahun. Okay? Mereka hanya perlu mendaftar nama mereka. Dan kalau yang mereka sudah ada daftar punya, kita akan bagi mereka slip pencaruman mereka.
The move, he said, was to provide social protection to taxi and school bus drivers in the event of an accident. Meanwhile, LOK also announced that the Road Transport Department, JPJ, has recorded a 3.53% increase in revenue collection from 4.90 billion ringgit in 2022 to 5.07 billion ringgit in 2023. He added that revenue collection from registration number tender payments increased from 501.5 million ringgit in 2022 to 569.6 million ringgit in 2023.
Umpamanya untuk nombor pendaftaran khas Go ini, kita dapat 17 juta. Daripada 17.2 juta itu, Kementerian Kewangan akan memulangkan 50% kutipan hasil itu kepada Kementerian Pengangkutan. Dan daripada 50% hasil kutipan khas itu yang berjumlah hampir 8.6 juta ringgit, maka kita boleh gunakan peruntukan ini untuk melaksanakan beberapa inisiatif tambahan.
The short-term interbank rates closed steady today on Bank Negara Malaysia BNM operations to absorb surplus liquidity from the financial system. Liquidity in the conventional system rose to 33.84 billion ringgit, compared with 32.71 billion ringgit this morning, while liquidity in Islamic funds declined to 23.04 billion ringgit from 25.38 billion ringgit. Earlier today, the central bank conducted 2 conventional money market tenders, 1 card tender and 2 reverse repo tenders. BNM revised the conventional overnight tender to 33.8 billion ringgit from 33.7 billion ringgit, and at 4 p.m. it called for a 33.8 billion ringgit conventional money market tender and a 23.0 billion ringgit murabahah money market tender, both for 3-day monies. The Malaysia Islamic overnight rate MYORI stood at 3.00% as of February 22nd. Medical personnel who work beyond office hours at health clinics are now eligible to claim a locum allowance, effective immediately. According to Health Minister Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad, the allowance is rated at 80 ringgit per hour and was implemented to resolve issues concerning payment for those who work overtime.
The announcement was made after Dr. Zulkifli witnessed the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding MOU between his ministry and IIH Healthcare Malaysia earlier today. The locum allowance was also put in place after operating hours for clinic located nearby hospitals were extended last year, which prompted requests to continue paying locum allowances by the central agency. Medical personnel working on Saturdays and public holidays are also eligible to the allowance, while those working on Sundays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. may request replacement leave per the approval from their head of departments. Meanwhile, the MOU with IHH Malaysia will enable the ministry to provide treatment for more than 500 cancer patients undergoing treatment under the ministry. This will be effective on March 1st, where patients can receive free radiotherapy and radiosurgery treatment at public hospitals and hospitals that are under IHH Malaysia's network, which includes Pantai Hospital, Gleneagles Hospital, and Prince Court Medical Centre. The MOU was signed by the ministry's Deputy Secretary General of Finance, Datuk Seri Nur Azman Ayub, and IHH Malaysia CEO Jean-François Na.
The adoption rate of 5G in Malaysia has surpassed 29.9%, encompassing 10.07 million users as of January 31st, 2024. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil announced that this is a significant increase in the adoption of 5G compared to only 12.5% usage in November of last year.
And honestly speaking, GSMA had, from the very start, I don't think they thought that we would make it. But we proved them wrong, we proved a lot of people wrong. But it's not about proving anyone wrong. It's proving to us, the nation and our future, that we are on the right path, on the right track. And I think we are on the right track.
At the same time, Fahmi said cooperation between communication companies and the government would need to focus more on technological advancement as well as ensuring better services for end users. Fahmi reportedly will be sharing Malaysia's achievement in leading the implementation of the national 5G network in his speech during the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, MWC 2024, Spain, from February 26 to March 2nd. MWC 2024 is the largest annual gathering of the telecommunications industry, hosted by the international body Group Speciale Mobile Association, with Barcelona selected as the host city for the Congress. The Congress is expected to attract over 100,000 telecommunications industry players.
President Vladimir Putin confirmed that 95% of Russia's strategic nuclear armament has been modernized and that the Air Force had just taken delivery of 4 new supersonic nuclear-capable bombers. Putin said this earlier today during Russia's annual Defender of the Fatherland Day, which celebrates the army, a day after he flew on a modernized Tu-160M nuclear-capable strategic bomber.
За последние годы предприятиями ОПК кратно увеличен выпуск и поставки в войска наиболее востребованного вооружения. Прежде всего, высокоточных средств поражения и беспилотных летательных аппаратов разных типов, танков, бронемашин, артиллерии, а также систем ПВО, контрбатарейной борьбы, средств связи и разведки.
Additionally, the Russian leader praised soldiers fighting Ukraine in what he called a special military operation, hailing them as heroes battling for truth and justice.
Мы гордимся вами, восхищаемся вашей смелостью, чтим подвиги. Знаем, что вам трудно, и будем делать все возможное, чтобы вы смогли выполнить поставленные перед вами задачи. Благодарю вас за доблестное исполнение воинского долга, за честное, самоотверженное служение Отечеству.
During the celebration, Putin devoted much of his speech to what he said were the achievements of the military-industrial complex. His message? That Russia's nuclear triad, its strategic land, sea and air nuclear capabilities, were up to date, being constantly modernized and in good order. Furthermore, Putin said Russia will continue to strengthen its armed forces in every possible way, including ongoing re-equipping and modernization efforts.
At least 4 people have died in a huge fire that gutted a multi-story apartment block in Spain's eastern port city of Valencia, with another 14 people injured. Local authorities warned that the toll could rise, with 19 people currently still missing.
Emergency services said the fire began around 5:30 p.m. on February 22nd on the 4th floor and spread rapidly, with images showing flames and vast clouds of black smoke engulfing the building in the Campana neighborhood in western Valencia. 15 people were treated for injuries of varying degrees, including a 7-year-old child and 7 firemen. 6 of the 15 were still in hospital on Friday, but their lives were not in danger. Officials said 22 teams of firefighters had been called in to battle the blaze.
Germany's parliament is expected to pass a law on Friday legalizing the cultivation and consumption of a limited amount of cannabis, standardizing the behavior of the 4.5 million Germans estimated to use the drug. The move would make Germany the 9th country to legalize recreational use of the drug, and under the proposals brought by the Chancellor Olaf Scholz ruling three-party coalition, cultivating up to 3 plants for private consumption and owning up to 25 grams of cannabis would be legalized.
Larger scale, but still non-commercial cannabis production would be allowed for members of so-called cannabis clubs, which could have no more than 500 members, all of whom would have to be adults. Only club members would be allowed to consume their output. German Health Minister Karl Lauterbach said the aim is to crack down on the black market and drug-related crimes, reduce the amount of dealing, and cut the number of users. However, cannabis would remain illegal for minors and highly restricted for young adults, and consuming it near schools and playgrounds would be illegal.
Sein. Wir werden daher bei Kindern und Jugendlichen, auch bei jungen Erwachsenen, eine ganz andere Aufmerksamkeit für die schädliche Wirkung von Cannabis in der Altersgruppe, insbesondere der unter 25-Jährigen haben. Das gesamte Thema wird enttabuisiert und die Tatsache, dass jetzt zum Beispiel über diese Schäden viel gesprochen wird, wirkt ja schon. Die Debatte findet schon statt. Daher finde ich auch die Diskussion um das Gesetz, die ja kontrovers ist, nicht schwierig, sondern hilfreich.
The opposition conservatives oppose the new rules, which they say are too complicated for authorities to enforce and could lead to greater consumption. Some experts doubt the new regulations would have much impact on dealing, since those who are unwilling to grow their own cannabis or join a cannabis club may still prefer to buy the drug.
Over 100 cars collided on an expressway in eastern China as a result of cold weather that led to icy road conditions. 9 people sustained injuries of varying degrees, 3 were hospitalized, while the rest sustained minor injuries. Footage from China's news agency showed tightly cramped vehicles, with some cars piling up on top of one another. The highway was strewn with broken glass, while emergency personnel combed through the wreckage of cars that were reduced to mere metal pieces. Fortunately, there were no reported deaths in the 7 a.m. incident. Last year, a similar incident occurred involving at least 200 cars and 1 fatality caused by dense fog. In China, road accidents are common due to lack of strict safety controls. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. For more headlines anytime, anywhere, just head on to our official website at tvsarawak.my or follow us on our social media platforms. Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Handy Gui. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.